Thanks for joining us. I'm Megan Roberts. We begin tonight with the latest on the future of Greenland and a dramatic turnaround. U.S. President Donald Trump says he's reached framework for a deal on the future of the Danish Arctic island. It happened on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. The deal seems to appease U.S. needs and end a looming showdown with NATO. Katie Nicholson kicks off our coverage tonight.
After weeks of increasingly ominous language from the U.S. about acquiring Greenland, it appears a solution could be on the table. In a post on social media, U.S. President Donald Trump wrote, "Based upon a very productive meeting that I have had with the Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte, we have formed the framework of a future deal with respect to Greenland and, in fact, the entire Arctic region. This solution, if consummated, will be a great one for the United States of America and all NATO nations. Based upon this understanding, I will not be imposing the tariffs that were scheduled to go into effect on February 1st. The specifics of this deal unknown, and it isn't clear whether the U.S. would be able to claim any ownership over Greenland. So far, Trump only had brief, vague remarks about it, but says it gets the U.S. everything it needs.
It's a long-term deal. It's the ultimate long-term deal. And I think it puts everybody in a really good position, especially as it pertains to security and minerals and everything else.
It's not clear either how on board the Danish government may be with this plan, though earlier today its foreign minister said that if today's developments mean that they can return to more normal channels than posts on Truth Social, that is good. All of this happening on the heels of Trump's long World Economic Forum speech this morning, in which he ruled out using military force to acquire Greenland, but repeated something he said yesterday, that the U.S. will be there for NATO, but he wondered whether NATO would be there for the U.S. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte had this response.
You can be assured, absolutely, if ever the U.S. will be under attack, your allies will be with you. Absolutely, there's an absolute guarantee. I really want to tell you this because it is important. It pains me if you think it is not.
NATO says negotiations on this U.S.-Greenland framework will continue between the 7 Arctic allies, which includes, of course, Canada. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Washington.
Governor General Mary Simon is weighing in on Donald Trump's threats to take over Greenland. Simon is a former ambassador to Denmark and was Canada's first ambassador for circumpolar affairs. She says Greenlanders have the right to self-determination. She made the comment to the CBC's Jorge Barrera during a visit to Mexico.
The thing is, as Inuit of Canada, we are very self-determining people, and we've negotiated agreements with different governments to advance that. And I think that my own personal feelings are that the Greenlanders have that right as well. Every people has the right to determine how they want to be, and they are part of the Danish realm, and their relationship with Denmark is very strong. And I have heard from Greenlanders saying that that is their key relationship. They don't want a relationship with another country like they have with Denmark. So this is a very important aspect of self-determination that Greenlanders are working towards as well. And they've got a lot of autonomy now in Greenland to determine their own affairs. But still they have a strong relationship with Denmark, and they continue to develop that, and that's where they want to be.
Next month, Simon is set to travel with Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand to Nuuk, Greenland, to open a Canadian consulate in the territory. It is a crucial time right now in the Arctic. Threats linger over the region, and Canada is looking to assert its sovereignty. Against that backdrop, an organization working to build a deep-water port in Qikiqtarjuaq, Nunavut, has secured official support from community leaders. The CBC's Mahnor Mubarak has more on the project and what it would mean for Canadian Arctic sovereignty.
The deep-sea port in Qikiqtarjuaq is meant to help serve as defense infrastructure. The Qikiqtarjuaq Arctic Economic Development Corporation is leading the project. It says the port presents many advantages. It could bolster marine safety, search and rescue, and a base for defense and security operations. Harry Flaherty is the chair of the organization.
Having a port in Qikiqtarjuaq will mean that the federal government is serious about the sovereignty and security of the North.
The corporation says recent geopolitical attention on Greenland has underscored the strategic importance of the Eastern Arctic. That includes areas like Qikiqtarjuaq as the eastern gateway to the Northwest Passage. The port is also meant to boost economic opportunities through tourism and fishing. The local HTO in Hamlet wrote a letter of support on January 15th. Gjoa Haven is the mayor of Qikiqtarjuaq.
They are finally going to start building it, and it will be very useful for everyone, and it will bring more job opportunities for the residents of Qikiqtarjuaq.
The corporation is calling on the federal government to fund $150 million to accelerate the development of the project, the aim to begin construction this year. The project itself is expected to be completed and ready for the shipping season in 2028. Mahanur Mubarak, CBC News, Iqaluit.
Ambassadors from 5 Nordic countries are in Yellowknife to talk about resilience in the Arctic. This trip has been planned for a while, but it's hard to escape the building tension in our backyard. Here's what the deputy head of mission for Norway said when he was asked whether there are specific and shared concerns about threats and activity in the Arctic region.
All the Nordic countries are concerned about the increasing challenges to the stability and security that we have become used to in the Arctic. The Arctic has traditionally been an area of low tension, but in a matter of very few years we see challenges not only from melting ice but from increased activity. And as an Arctic nation, Norway is very concerned about this development. We are happy to see that Canada is building up its presence, increasing its presence, exercising sovereignty in its Arctic areas the same way as we are. And there is a lot of projects coming up in terms of military cooperation, in terms of cooperation between our 2 coast guards, and in terms of political dialogue about the security challenges that we see today.
The group also talked about a multifaceted approach to security. They said that many things, including climate change and education, ultimately contribute to security. The ambassadors met with Northwest Territories Premier R.J. Simpson, cabinet members, and Indigenous leaders during their trip. They also toured the Joint Task Force North headquarters in Yellowknife. In Nunavut, the hamlet of Gjoa Haven says it's at risk of losing its water treatment system. Last Thursday, the hamlet wrote on Facebook that there was a leak detected in the water line between the lake and treatment plant. That prompted a boil water advisory a day later. The hamlet says there's limited capacity to deliver water. It has 1 water truck that now has to drive directly to the lake pump house to fill up water and deliver it to residents. The hamlet says it's working with the Nunavut government to fly in help and parts to repair the water main leak. It wants residents to reduce all non-essential water use, like laundry or long showers. The Nunavut Health Department is advising residents to boil all water for consumption, that is any water for drinking, preparing food, and brushing teeth. The Inuvialuit Regional Corporation has elected a new chair. Former Qikiqtarjuaq Mayor Erwin Elias was elected Tuesday evening after several rounds of voting. 7 candidates took part in the election forum in Inuvik on Tuesday. The IRC board is made up of representatives from each community in the Inuvialuit settlement region. Elias says he's already working with the executive team and staff. He wants to familiarize himself with the corporate structure and get up to speed right away. Elias thanked the former chair and CEO Dwayne Smith for his decade of service.
Hats off to Dwayne, of course. I want to make sure that I acknowledge that. He's done a lot of amazing work. And, you know, there's some big shoes to fill here. So, you know, I think that I'm ready and prepared for it, and working with my people.
Elias, the board, and IRC staff are working on strategic planning this week before delegates return to their communities. Jeremy Tunvaluk has officially resigned as president of Nunavut Dungavik Incorporated, or NTI. In a news release today, the Nunavut Dungavik Board of Directors says it has accepted his resignation. Tunvaluk has been on unpaid leave with the organization since December of last year. He was arrested at that time for assault causing bodily harm. This month, charges against him were stayed, meaning the Crown chose not to proceed with prosecution, but can reactivate charges within 1 year. Vice President Paul Ingout has been serving as acting president for NTI and will continue in that position until a by-election is held in December of this year. And the former Yukon Liberal leader has resigned. Mike Pemberton served a 6-month stint as party leader and premier. That was before his party was defeated during the territorial election in November. Voters elected just one Liberal candidate into public office. That party has appointed that person, Deborah Lee Reddy, as interim leader. She'll remain the MLA for Vuntut-Witchin. The Liberal Party's annual general meeting is scheduled for Thursday night.
Good afternoon, I'm Deborah.
It is day 2 of the Dene National Assembly in the Northwest Territories. Chief Devin Felker of West Point First Nation is attending the Assembly for the first time since getting elected this summer. And at 26 years old, he is the youngest person at the table. Sarah St. Pierre caught up with him in Fort Good Hope.
Thanks for joining me. We're here at the Dene National Assembly. It's your first time at the big table with all the other chiefs. How's your experience so far?
It's been amazing. George McKenzie, the national chief, reached out to me just earlier last year at the end in December or November and asked me if I wanted to be the youth rep for AFN for the Dene Nation for the NWT, and I agreed. And they've been so helpful with everything so far. They've guided me, they've provided me with all the input I need and all the resources I need to do my job better, and they've just been an amazing help.
Is there anything that you've heard so far in the conversations that's sticking out to you?
The issues with the land, it's prominent around all the nations in the Northwest Territories. We're having issues with communities pushing projects ahead without proper consultation. I'd say that's a big thing that's sticking out right now, is the different issues that all the communities have, but they're all connected in a way.
We've heard a bit of talk as well from some people around the table. They want to make sure that youth concerns are being addressed. Has what you've heard been resonating with what you're hearing from people your age so far?
100%. We need more youth in the space, and the youth that I have been in contact with in these spaces, I've met some amazing people. I'd like to shout out my buddy George Wrigley from Toledo. He's an amazing guy, and just all the people that I've known and grown up with, they're really great, and they're really good suits for leadership, and I hope that they decide to take that step. There's a lot of youth that are interested in it, but there's also a lot of youth that haven't really put their foot inside the door to understand that it might be something that they like. Because when I started as a counselor in 2019, I was working a labor job at the time, and I didn't know anything about leadership. I just wanted to be a part of it. My family nominated me, and they said, "You'd do good. We've all been a part of leadership. I think you'd do good." So I was like, all right. I got nominated in, and it's been a roller coaster ever since. Like, as soon as I got my foot in the door and realized how many resources are out there to better yourself and help do your job better and help your community and bring workshops to your community so that it helps the members, it's just something I fell in love with, seeing the smiles on the elders' face when we get new upgrades for their homes and new projects getting brought into the community that haven't happened before. Our First Nations is fairly far behind in development compared to all the other nations at the table here. Since we're within the municipality of Hay River, we don't get the same kind of funding as everyone else, so it makes things really hard. But recently we got a huge grant for 16 homes. We brought in 16 modular homes for our community, for the Indigenous youth in our community, and we're hoping to bring back more members from across the country back to the community and hopefully bring some more resources and help uplift the work that we're doing.
What do you think could happen if more young people were involved at events like this, the Dene National Assembly?
I think there'd be more happy youth in the community because they'd realize that there's actually a space for them in leadership, that they have a voice. You hear it at all these leadership meetings and all the workshops and gatherings that I've been to since I've been on council and chief this year. There's a need for more voice. There's a need for more youth voices in the NWT and just all across Canada.
Speaking of recognizing youth, we had a special guest at the Assembly earlier. I noticed you're wearing something that you've received from her. Can you tell me more about that?
Yes, when I went to a Special Chiefs Assembly in Ottawa at the end of November, and Chief Cindy Woodhouse, she gifted me the AFN logo as a medallion, and it's amazing. Me and Chief Trishelle Bunn, the youngest chief in Canada, shout out to her, she's doing an amazing job. We both got gifted these medallions on stage, and I hold it really close to my heart because when I came to AFN at the Special Chiefs Assembly, I seen the other NYC youth with them, a couple of them, not all of them, and a few chiefs with them as well. And I was like, oh, that's beautiful. You don't see medallions in the Northwest Territories. We don't really wear this. We wear vests and other beaded accessories, but I really do like the culture that they have down south. I love the medallions. It's a great accessory, and I was just so blown away that she gave it to me.
I want to get to one more thing. I know you have a resolution that you're hoping to put through to the Assembly. Can you tell me more about that and where it comes from?
Yeah, so I previously mentioned that my First Nation we're within the municipality of Hay River, so that creates complications for funding. We don't get funding for any services like sewer, water, or garbage truck, road cleaning, or anything like that. So we don't have the same access to funding as all the other groups in the NWT. My First Nation, West Point First Nation, we have a really specific kind of issue with being in the town of Hay River. We don't have our own services, so it creates complications for us, and the town of Hay River also pushes projects along while we're supposed to be in land claims. So it has a lot of issues, and the fact that we don't have access to the same funding as other communities makes it really hard for my First Nation to do their job adequately. We don't have enough funding to keep myself in office. I don't have an office at the band office. We just got a finance manager and a receptionist. And basically the resolution that I wanted to table this at the end of the Assembly when we go through all the resolutions was adequate funding for the smaller communities in the Northwest Territories so that we could better do our jobs and actually support all the work that needs to be done, because there's so much stuff on the table as leaders and as council. We don't have time to be able to deal with all of them adequately and properly have the time to sit down and have me in office and deal with all these issues and meet with community members at all times. So it's a big struggle.
Have you heard from anyone so far that they would be willing to support that resolution?
Yeah, Chief Lloyd Chico, he agreed. He said that it's a good resolution and that he didn't have any issues or changes to make to it. So I got Lloyd Chico on my side, and I'm sure all the other chiefs, they wouldn't have an issue because they see that West Point is farther behind than all the other communities. They understand that we're struggling, the issues that we have. So I have faith in all the other communities and the leaders. We're all good friends, and everything I'm hoping for the best.
Some Yukoners say it's already harder to pay for groceries this year than it was last year. Canada's food price report for 2026 forecasts that overall food prices will increase by 4 to 6%. This has people thinking of some simple strategies to beat the high prices. Chris McIntyre has that story.
The average family of four is expected to spend around $17,572 on food this year. According to the report, that's an increase of nearly $995 from last year. CBC News hit the streets of Whitehorse to ask residents how high food prices are impacting them and the way they shop.
And meat prices are so high that my sister couldn't afford to purchase anything today.
I'm on CPP OAS, so it's hard. It's hard to get through the month, with groceries.
Things that I found helped is using the PC Points app system and seeing what's on sale and buying stuff that will just get you points. Yeah, I always joke that my grocery list is based on what gives you points that week. Yeah, because it switches every week. And honestly, eating less meat, which sucks, but that's the most expensive thing, I think.
I just went grocery shopping yesterday and I was really surprised because I never had to pay that much for that was like a usual list of items that I bought, and I was really shocked by the price, the overall price.
The Canada Food Price Report for 2026 says food prices are 27% higher than they were 5 years ago. It says key factors significantly affecting food prices in Canada this year include the ongoing United States trade dispute, and many large Canadian corporations, including Kraft Heinz and Dr. Pepper Kellogg, are restructuring and downsizing. The report says layoffs of thousands of workers is contributing to a 1.9% decline in food manufacturing growth. Over in Dawson City, Kyler Mather manages one of the town's grocery stores. He's a third-generation grocer. Mather says food prices in his industry rarely go down. While costs may stabilize at times, he says the overall trend is upward. He adds that customers are more likely to notice price increases in meat, fresh produce, and coffee. Mather says for his store and others, browsing the store's weekly flyer is a good idea before shopping and can help customers save.
There's definitely good deals in that people can capitalize on, and I would really encourage people, when you're on a tight budget or a fixed budget, to shop the sale items, because there is dramatic savings in there.
As customers look for ways to manage food costs, the report says that food affordability will remain a major pressure point this year. Chris McIntyre, CBC News, Dawson City.
The government of the Northwest Territories is hosting a 3-day summit on healthcare that began on Tuesday. The goal is to bring together Indigenous leaders and others in the field to examine and transform primary and community healthcare in the North. Part of the programming includes an interactive art exhibit. Tamara Merritt shows us what it looks like.
Welcome to the journey. While this may be the end of this exhibit, it is just the beginning of the work.
The art exhibit starts and finishes in a similar place, in a tent, listening to an audio-guided tour. It's part of a GNWT summit that is bringing together Indigenous leaders and others in the health sector to examine and transform primary and community healthcare in the North.
We know the ongoing impacts of colonization, both historic and contemporary. We know the ongoing impacts that has directly on health and wellness, as well as access to safe, high quality, culturally safe care that's free from racism. Not everyone shares that baseline understanding.
The exhibit takes participants through an interactive journey to establish an understanding of the past, present, and what could be a possible future in Northern healthcare.
And if we can even just start with humility, I think, in this system, and that includes saying, I don't know the answers, community knows the answers, we can design a framework of how to do health, of how to bring people together to design health. But if we're saying that they're all going to be the same, that Litzel K's needs are going to be the same as Inuvik, then we're just repeating the same challenges.
While the exhibit is not open to the public right now, organizers say it's something they're thinking about for the future. Tamara Merritt, CBC News, Yellowknife.
A mental health organization in the Yukon is encouraging self-care today. It organized a morning rave at a local coffee shop to celebrate Bell Let's Talk Day. Organizers say it's important to keep talking about mental health.
It's really just to reduce the stigma of mental health, to make it more of a topic people that could feel more comfortable talking about. Yeah, there's just such a stigma about it. So we just wanted to, have this rave to kind of open up the possibility of people maybe talking about mental health and not feeling afraid to say how they're feeling and not being afraid to ask for help. And we're trying to reduce the barriers.
It's been more than a decade that we've had this Let's Talk Day initiative. Have you seen a shift, at least, in some of the stigma being reduced? Are more people talking about their mental health?
Yeah, I think it's slow but steady. And doing things like this and being on the radio really is helpful too, right? It's something that a lot of people don't want to talk about. It can be hush-hush. There's a lot of shame involved with it. And we're just trying to let people know that we're here and we can help.
Especially on a dark day in January.
Right? Yeah. I mean, like a lot of people are, seasonal affective disorder is a big thing. I really want everyone to take their vitamin D. It's important.
Talked about that earlier this morning.
Yeah. So, and we have a lot of services that we offer, and we're hoping that there's a fit for everyone.
And that is Northbeat for tonight. For news anytime, go to cbc.ca/north. Thank you for watching. I'm Megan Roberts. Have a good night.